Goddamn.
Wow. Wow, man. The day has finally come. We are finally here, man, with the. God. 5 years, bro. 5 years, man. Man.
Crazy, man.
Well, we have a lot of stuff to get into. We will be getting into all that good stuff first. Just regarding the anniversary of the show and whatnot. Before we get anything started, man. But other than that, we do have quite a bit of WWE stories for you, and not much AEW, man. However, the big story today is actually an AEW story, and it is it could be quite scary. It could be. It could be. It also, could be a good thing, but it also could be quite scary. We'll get into all that. And I'll get into specifically what I mean by that in just a second. But let's go ahead, man, and start us off. So, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to another edition of the Notorious podcast. This is episode 261 of the. This is episode 200 and. This is episode. My bad. This is episode 200 and I got a little, notification there from YouTube. I thought it was something bad. This is episode 261 of the podcast of the news, and if this is your first time watching and you guys do not know how the show works, every Monday we are on here after Monday Night Raw with Unscripted, and every Friday we are on here with the news. If you guys did miss this past Monday's episode of Unscripted, where will Paul Heyman's loyalty lie at WrestleMania? That is episode 242 of Unscripted. And if you guys did miss that, as well as the Dynasty review, that's a pretty good watch. I encourage you guys to go watch that. It was actually fucking better than the show itself. Typical with AEW at this point. Half of the fucking AEW reviews we do, the review is more entertaining than the show itself. And I can confidently say that with Dynasty. Like, legit. I can oh so confidently say that is the case with Dynasty. So if you guys did miss that, both of those episodes, those are available on all platforms for you guys. That is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and if you want to see it first, join us right here on YouTube. Like I said, Friday at 3 p.m. Central, Monday after Monday Night Raw, and after the pay-per-views for both WWE and AEW directly after with the post-show review. Next week is finally time for the WrestleMania predictions. Why it may this is not normal. I don't like this. I must say.
No, I don't like this at all. All this wait for this WrestleMania. Goddamn.
Well, yeah, it is very very odd WrestleMania season. Very fucking odd WrestleMania season. Yeah, there that well, we have news on WrestleMania, so we will get into that, and I'm sure that will spark that whole conversation up. But also, man, if you guys have not got a chance to get your hands on some of the official NHP merchandise, you guys can now sport this beautiful piece of merchandise that I am actually sporting today myself. If you want to go ahead, pick it up for the 5-year anniversary of the podcast, you guys can now go grab this at bonfire.com. This is link is at the top of the description of this very video, where you can get, like I said, this beautiful piece of NHP merchandise, man. Also, if this is your first time watching and you guys do not know who we are here at NHP, I am Johnny, one half of the host of this very podcast. And as for the other half, we got my man, Sir K here. Sir K, it's been 5 years. Go ahead and tell the people what you're smiling about today.
I can't tell you that, but I'm smiling, man. It has been 5 years, dude. It's half a decade, and it does not feel like that at all, man. Time just flew. They say, the older you get, the faster time goes, especially when you're having fun. So this 5 years have felt like 2, 3, if I'm being honest, man. And it's been great, dude. It's been great. We've grown so much, and we've gained so many people just to talk to, man. All you guys that are always in the chats for each various show, reviews, all that, man. You you guys make everything, dude. It's so fun just to get on here, talk about horrible Dynamite or talk about a pay-per-view this, the build to WrestleMania that, and to talk to you guys about it, man. It's so great. And it really does not feel like 5 years, man. But it's been a great 5 years, a lot of growth, and there's still a lot of growth to, come to in the next 5 years, say. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It doesn't feel like 5 years, not at all. And I'm very excited, man. I'm very excited for this year, especially, man. When uh, I think we've been doing really good in terms of flow and um, like progression in terms of our side and just the number side. So it's really good. And this year, I'm very excited to see how everything goes, man. Very excited for WrestleMania, that post WrestleMania season, even though we don't have any fucking international shows. And I'm very excited to just see, just talk to you guys throughout it all, man. So truly, 5 years does not feel like it in the slightest, man. But truly been a great 5 years, man. And there's gonna be at least five more, if not five more onto that, five more onto that. So crazy, man. But 5 years, it's so crazy, man. But to the normal intro, like Durante always asks, how's life? How's the family? Life's good. Family's good. How is everybody doing in the live chat? How's everyone doing watching the replay? And how are you, bro? And how the 5 years been for you, man?
Oh, wow, man. See, I always I always love this time of year because any other time throughout the year, it's sort of hard for me to like stop and smell the roses type thing.
Mhm.
It usually is just very challenging for me to do just because I just like just kind of thinking ahead and just thinking what we could do, different shit that needs to be better and all that type of thing, man. But this time of year always man, it never fails to give the old butterflies in the stomach, bro, because
Like,
it allows me to sit back and reflect. And I think the reason that is I think the reason that is, man, is because I think back to episode 1. I think back to me and you sitting in uh you know the old the bedroom I was in when we started doing this. You could see it in like the old backgrounds or like the 2021 episodes. But I think back to me and you sitting in my bedroom at my mom's place and and just talking about what this could be and how we were gonna do it, and it's way fucking different than what it is now.
crazy for sure.
We were talking about, just I think we were just kind of talking about just something a little fun we could do one day a week, just to talk about wrestling. And obviously this turned into sometimes we do 4 days a week if there's a 2 night pay-per-view. um
Technically, content
s-
every day.
uh,
Counting shorts.
I was yeah, but yeah, pretty much. If you do count shorts and everything, it's 7 days a week. So, obviously, and dude, I still remember sitting there with my old shitty HP laptop on my fucking TV dinner table and making the OG logo and. And obviously it's up on the channel, but the what's next for the J Flight YouTube channel
Oh,
video, where it took me and you probably about 58 fucking takes to film that because I couldn't stop fucking laughing because this guy's sitting behind the camera just fucking making me laugh. So I
man.
th- it allows me to reflect, man. It allows me to reflect, and I think about I think I think about so much, man. I think about, like I said, just that first episode, how I felt and how nervous I felt. And to be honest with you, man, other than the rebrand, that made me really fucking nervous. But like, that we did this past August. But like, you know, gee, I hate you, Logan. But,
Save Logan.
sometimes I miss him too, man. Sometimes I miss him too. But That was my big dog era, if you will. But
No, that was goated. That was
uh,
a big dog. That was amazing.
but Jesus, what was I saying? Yeah, I think back, oh, that's what I was saying. The rebrand episode made me really nervous, just because it was jumping into completely uncharted waters, and just something we've never done as a hard just rebrand for the show with the new logos and look and whatnot. This is the only episode every year that makes me, incredibly nervous, man. It makes me incredibly nervous. Every episode, I still do keep that same amount of nervousness just because I always want to do good and I always want to keep up a good product for you guys. But like an episode that just genuinely makes me nervous, the same way I felt day one, it's always the anniversary episode, man. Because it is the one episode where I do allow myself to reflect, man. But
Mhm.
it's been, oh man, it's I was thinking about this last night, as I was just putting everything together, man. But like I can't I tell you guys all enough, and it's not some hokey bullshit. A lot of people come on here and they talk about how they love their audience and how they love, all the people they've met and all this kind of stuff, man. And a lot of people just fucking say that because it's the nice thing to say. um but man, just the amount of relationships that I've had through this podcast, and the amount of relationships that I already had when we started the podcast but have grown, um like this one you see every week with my best friend Sir K, man. Dude, I can't thank you enough. You're the best fucking co-host. You always make me fucking laugh. You're always fucking smiling about something nowadays. Who fucking knows what it is? But but
Gotta keep
uh
that one on you.
But yeah. but but no, man, you're the best co-host anybody can ask for, man, and just I truly thank you so much for all your support and just all the time, just like
Of
me,
course.
we've obviously given a lot of time to this, and it's just I can't thank you enough for it, um and the relationship with you guys, man, the relationship with you guys, I've met so many truly incredible people through doing this podcast, man. We talk about you guys every week. We've kind of incorporated you guys into the intro, right? Whether you
Yeah.
guys are here or not, I always say Durante, Logan. Well, Logan doesn't count. Logan's the manager.
Logan's
He
the
he
manager.
he's mandatory to be here, but Durante, Logan, Bell, Gotti, JT, JB, like you guys, man. And I, even just outside of the podcast, I speak to you guys regularly. You guys shoot me DMs. We go talk in the comments, and it's something that I love to do, and it's something that I just take very great pride in. Is just the amount of relationships I built with you guys, and they truly mean a lot to me. Um, they truly mean a lot to me, man, and it's really something that I will never and have never taken for granted, because that type of thing is special, and it's just it's something it's the really really cool part of coming with what we do, man, and the community
Mhm.
that we have. So I really appreciate all the love and support. It's just it means so much to me. It means so much to me, and obviously year 5 was year 5, year 4, I don't know, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They haven't been the best years personally, man, but I always say this: if there's one thing I can look forward to twice to 4 times a week, it's coming on here and just getting to escape and just getting to just chat with all you guys. It's something that is, it's really a beacon of hope, and it's a fucking it's a bright it's a bright sunshine, man, on sometimes
Truly.
that aren't always going the best, bro. But man, year 5 was a pretty fucking awesome one. How about that? How about that, man? Year 5, we completely, you know logo wise, I think took everything to a completely different level. Obviously we
Oh
did we
yeah.
did the rebrand, so I love giving you guys the little Wyatt 6 type teases on the screen. I thought that was pretty cool just to see your guys' reactions and the comments. And then content wise, man, obviously with shorts, and now we're up to, if you do count shorts, 7 days a week. But it could be 2 to 4 live episodes a
Yeah.
week. So we completely took it to a different level, and you can see the results, and that's really cool, and that's really cool. So man, thank you to everybody who's been here. Thank you to everybody who's new. Thank you to anybody who's ever gave us a listen. um it means a lot um to a kid like myself, man, to a kid like myself who was um filming videos off of his PlayStation just 10 years ago, in in the
Legend House.
in the great town of Markham, Illinois. So I man, I appreciate it so much, and it fucking chokes me up every year. And I truly
Um,
can't say thank you to you guys enough, man. How much this means to me, and how much we're gonna just continue to make you guys proud, man, going forward, man. So thank you guys so much for 5 years. Truly, 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 thank you guys so much. Um, man, yeah,
I know. It always gets me, man. Truly. Thank all you guys, dude. And and you were mentioning, about, how, the audience and, some people like they say they love, the inclusion of their audience and whatnot. But dude, comparing it to like a wrestling crowd, you guys add so much in just the comments and the conversations to a show, man. Truly like a wrestling crowd does with a good crowd. Sometimes we have those episodes where not everyone can make it, and we get those episodes where, damn near everybody can make it, and those episodes where damn near everybody can make it, no matter what the subject is. It's just always so much more enjoyable, man. So thank all you guys whenever you can stopping by.
absolutely, bro. Absolutely, man. Yes. Like Sir K just said, you guys, man, you guys are our family, bro. You guys are our family, our wrestling family, if you will. So man, again, I really can't say it enough, and I'll continue to fucking say it, and probably irritate everybody, but man, thank you guys so much. Truly, man, it's been an amazing 5 years. Thank you guys for being here on the journey, and thank you guys for continuing to follow us along for the journey, man, and not just following us along, but coming with us on the journey. So man, thank you
Truly.
guys. We love and appreciate you guys so much, and man, 5 fucking years, bro.
It's
Crazy.
crazy, man. It's truly crazy.
As you can see, Bell's exposing me in the comments, man. I was telling Bell yesterday, dude. This is the Wednesday night is the fucking reason why I'm contemplating getting a goddamn PlayStation Portal so much. I mean, I'm sitting on the recliner, man, and I just need something to fucking do while I'm watching the 400K explosive 8-man tag on my screen. I mean, what the? First of all, what the?
400K.
Who? If that isn't a Chat GPT name or a Grok name, then I don't fucking know what is. And second of all, what the fuck do I care if they each get a fucking $100,000 for? I want the fucking $100,000. Why do I care to see them fight over $100,000 a piece?
Exactly. I do not care what they're gonna spend their money on. I don't care, bro. I don't care. I can't wait till fucking Monday with this dynamite, man. But dude, I'm so glad that either or I could vice versa it. I could either put dynamite on the TV and play a game on the PC, or I could do the reverse, play a game on the PlayStation, or have it up on my PC because dude, just watching dynamite just straight through. You literally can't, dude. You literally can't.
And obviously, I told you guys over the past weekend, me and Sir K made a stop down to a retro gaming shop in
Oh yeah.
Chicago, and I picked up NBA 2K14. Super nostalgic game for me, one of my favorite 2Ks of all time. Wednesday was killing me because I just wanted to fucking play my goddamn 2K14, and I had to sit there and watch that bullshit.
Gotta get that second monitor, bruh. It's a lifesaver.
Fuck. Man.
It truly is the best investment
That,
I've ever
that,
done.
that is true, man. Belle, to expose Belle, she was telling me, what did she say? She opened up Dynamite, and John Moxley was on her television screen, and she went right back to reading. So,
Yeah,
and
I
I
don't
told
blame
her I
you.
don't fucking blame her because, good God, but look, man, the Bucks, they want to, what, they, they want to run the ship together, right?
Together, the forces of the founding fathers and the
Oh
Death
man.
Riders and fucking and can they jump me? Can the Death Riders fucking jump me at this point watching the show? Because my God, ah, so bad. And speaking of how bad it is, man, way to start off our first
Oh,
story.
I was gonna say that brings us perfectly into our first story. Oh, brother. Because this pertains to the leader of the Dead Riders, John Moxley. My God. Well, Bell, how was the book? I'm glad to hear that you finished it. Glad to hear that you
Most
finished it.
definitely, I think
I hope it was good, and I'm glad that you did sacrifice your dynamite for it because dynamite was it was dynamite. I mean, what 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 else is there to say at this point other than it was fucking dynamite? Um,
I think that's the book series I bought my sister for her birthday. So I recognize the phrase "a court." I recognize that. So
wait a
I
minute.
think that's the ones I bought my sister.
That might sound, man.
So
That might
it's
sound
a
a little
very
familiar too.
popular.
I might have bought a couple of those for the misses.
I
I
I
can't
think
see
you
though.
have to. It's
God,
I think it's a very popular series at this
uh,
point because I think I bought my sister. I think that's the series I bought my sister for her birthday.
makes sense. I'll have to. I will have to look at her bookshelf because I'm sure I bought a lot of fucking books in my day. And I'm sure that was one of them. However,
Okay. You look back at my Amazon purchases.
yeah, seriously. For me, it's Target runs that take
Oh
forever.
man,
Um,
oh man. I
but
think it's
yeah.
just a couple clicks.
Oh God. But but man. Okay, so John Moxley, right, the leader of the Dead Riders. Well, according to Fightful Select, John Moxley has been reportedly planned to have a lengthy title reign. And there was no plans backstage. There was no plans backstage for a talk, for even a talk of a plan for Swerve Strickland to win at Dynasty. AEW has reportedly internally claimed that Moxley's title reign has caused live and DVR quarters to climb, despite the disconnect with the online audience, which I actually sent you that article last night
And
because, according to SE Scoops, AEW internally has touted the success of the Death Riders and John Moxley winning the AEW championship, citing a disconnect from the fans, while AEW claims that the company's live plus DVR quarters have climbed throughout the year with John Moxley as champion, peaking with the Moxley versus Cope street fight. Okay. Well, let me bring you back to last week. You're claiming your quarters have rised, but you're counting your max viewership in a 24-hour period.
and another thing, they kept saying DVR, so is that counting just people just having it fucking recorded and then watching it back too? Because when I hear DVR, that's exactly what I think of.
Um,
I would think
I
a
would
higher DVR number would be bad.
I was gonna say well that's what I was gonna say. I assume their live, I would attest their DVR numbers to the other 22 hours that they count after Dynamite goes off the air for their live viewership, even though it's not live viewership because they're going on, 24 hours or a couple hours, how many hours it may be after the show goes off the air. You're counting that as your live viewership. when it's not live viewership. Those are the fucking people that are probably like, oh, Dynamite's over. Okay, now I can go back and skim through it.
Literally, that's what I fucking do. Like, that's what I do for Max at least. Like, I that's not a good number to look at. That's actually really bad, in my opinion, to look at.
Well, John Moxley, you know, like it says, like it says here, man. According to Fightful, John Moxley is set for a lengthy title reign, and there was never a plan for Swerve Strickland to win the title at AEW Dynasty. Okay, couple questions for you. Obviously, there's a lot to unpack here. When they say lengthy, do you think we've already gone through the bulk of the length of the title reign, or do you think there could be a lot of dark and a lot of dark days ahead of us in terms of John Moxley's title reign? To the point, do you think are AEW crazy enough to have this lengthy title reign, have us kind of be in the middle of that? Or do you think we're towards the more end of it? And also, too, how do you feel about there never being a talk of Swerve Strickland even possibly taking the championship from John Moxley at Dynasty? And then, obviously, the other thing, how do you feel about AEW's blatant disconnect with their audience, citing, the numbers as, something that is I guess, a positive, and John Moxley is a ratings a ratings rocket for AEW.
Mm.
How do you feel about all this stuff?
The ratings rocket John Moxley, man. They were going from 500,000 viewers to 600,000 viewers on the weekly, man. What a numbers guy. I think it's stupid that they're trying to tout the numbers because we know the numbers aren't as good as they believe they are, especially if they are counting like post live numbers. I think that's just really sad and something. If you had good live numbers, you would never tout your DVR and after recording numbers. So I think that's just sad, in my opinion. I think they're just coping with the bad numbers they're doing, and they have to say a good number, so they're gonna just that number's technically good, so we'll say that, man. And maybe Mox is bringing them an extra 100,000 viewers, man. But they used to have, compared to what they have now, about an extra 400,000 viewers on the weekly that they completely took away from us because their lack of creative direction on weekly television, man. And you know how long will it might go? It is scary, dude. It's at least 3 months, if not long. How long? How many months till Wrestle Dream? What's
Six.
that? October?
Holy fuck. 6 months.
Um,
Ooh.
so we either have 3 months or 6 months with the Death Rider still. It all depends on if they still want Darby to do it or not, and I, I don't, I don't know if I see Will Ospreay beating John Moxley with the current state of just creative direction that they've been having. I don't know if I see that. I think at this point, I would lean more on the Wrestle Dream, path to them losing the title and 12-month title reign. And oh, it's scary, man. It's really scary, but it's either 3 months or 6 months, at least 3 months, if not 6 months, and that's fucking terrifying because it's already been ass. It's already been so ass, and we have at least 3 months more. And six just sounds absolutely just murderous. So I hope it's not 6 months, but at the same time, I don't see Will Ospreay winning at All In, but I also don't see them having like a bad quote unquote ending to All In where, the bad guys win. You know what I mean? So I'm very,
Mm-hmm.
very indifferent to see how this can go, man, because a part of me is just telling me, dude, they're building it up to Wrestle Dream. But another part of me is like, there's no way they end All In with the Death Riders, victory and one up and whatnot. So I'm very indifferent on this, man. As And I'm just terrified as everyone else is when it comes to the path of the Dork Riders. I don't think it looks good. I like I said, it's at least 3 months, if not six, and I don't know. I'm very indifferent. I think it could go either way, and at this point, you really should have done Swerve. Yeah, I think that was your best way out. And the fact that they never even thought about that is just beyond me, man. I don't get how you're so stuck in your ways when none of your fans, even the most hardcore ones, like this shit. You're still not changing plans, man. That was one of the whole benefits that made AEW, the alternative is, fans didn't really like something. Usually, got changed or canned or whatever. And you don't get that nowadays. Everybody wanted Swerve to win. Everybody wanted Swerve to win. And they didn't even think about it, man. I think that sets a pretty bad precedent for creative and for Tony Khan's mentality, man. It's very scary. But what about you, man? What do you think about the possibility of 3 more months or 6 more months? What do you think it may be? What do you think about Swerve and them not choosing him? And what do you think about the numbers that they've been doing?
Well, again, let's start with that. So the numbers. Last week, SEC Scoops reported that around 500,000 viewers are watching the show on the streaming service within a 24-hour broadcast, coupled with 500,000 tuning in on Dynamite live on television. You cannot count a 24-hour window as live viewers. You can't do that. Like that's you can't sit there and say, "Well, we had 500,000 people in the last 24 hours watch the show. Well, let's go ahead and count them for the live viewership to make it 1,000,000. You're cheating. You're fucking cheating on the viewership. I mean, so that makes no sense. I'm telling you right now, if you were doing $1,000,000 or $1,000,000, 1,000,000 viewers when
I agree on
CM
that.
Punk, Tony Khan gets that in his sleep and he dishes it out in his sleep too.
Totally.
But when you had if you had 1,000,000 viewers, when CM Punk and Bryan Danielson were there, you are not getting that same viewership with Jon Moxley and the Dead Riders on top in AEW. There's just no way. And again, we remember what these viewership numbers used to be. They used to
Yeah.
be a 4, a 5, a 6, on a good week a 7, on a fucking miracle an 8. You are not getting those numbers nowadays, dude. You are not. You could try to bullshit whoever you please. You are not getting those numbers, and it really goes to show the disconnect with their audience. And again, you are in an age, Tony Khan is at that, where he listens to his online audience. Even he has not listened to his online audience. But don't take it from the online audience. You don't even have to take it from viewership. Take it from the capacity in the arena. Look at how many
Yeah.
people, look how many people want to come out to these shows. And sure, you can say, well, the arenas are fuller now. Why is that? Because
You know?
they have to go to those arenas now. Because you had to downsize your venues because of how little interest there is in your product. So let that be the testament to how Jon Moxley's title reign is going. It's not garnering any interest. You're not getting the same amount of viewership you were from when CM Punk was there. You just can't tell me no. No. You're not getting the same amount of viewership from when Phil fucking Brooks was in the company doing his thing, feuding with MJF, Eddie Kingston, Darby Allin, Jon Moxley, whoever, right? You're not getting those same numbers, dude. So stop bullshitting people. And again, you're not even really bullshitting people as much as dumb people are believing it, because I literally just read it off. They are counting 500 viewers per a 24-hour window. And again, like I said last week, that's great. I didn't know Dynamite was 24 hours long every week. You can't count 24 hours worth of viewership for live viewers on the broadcast. I mean what? So Okay, so with that, they say John Moxley is in store for a lengthy title reign. That could be a good thing. That could be a bad
Yeah.
thing. Why could that be a good thing? The good thing is the lengthy title reign. We basically are already done with half of it. I know we got 3 months, but the length is already basic. The bulk of it is almost over with, right? That's the good part. Assuming that this ends at All In. I mean, obviously, again, it's 3 months, so I mean that's going to be torture. But he's held it since October, so November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So it was a 9-month title reign. We're down to the final 3 months, right? So we're already done with half. Could be a good thing, right? We're already done with, like I said, we're already done with half of it. We only got 3 more months to go. The bad part is if this means lengthy as of now. Because if it means lengthy as of now, again, Darby Allin was supposed to win the championship at Wrestle Dream. Wrestle Dream is traditionally taken place in Washington. You know, whether it's done in Tacoma, I think last year it might have been Seattle. Darby's from Washington. Who's to say Tony Khan still doesn't, who's to say Tony Khan isn't looking at All In? Who's to say he's still just not looking at Darby Allin? Because if he's looking at Darby Allin, and if Wrestle Dream takes place in Washington, again, where Darby is from, I'm saying it right now, and I hope you guys call me crazy, because I want to be called crazy for a comment like this. Do not be surprised if Tony Khan really is holding on to the idea of Darby Allin needs to be the guy, because there is an embedded story in there for him. And again, I mean, I will admit there is an embedded storyline for Darby Allin. It's just horrific timing. It really makes me wish he would not have broken his foot and just climbed this damn mountain last year.
Literally.
So, I mean, poor, obviously it's not his fault, but it is what it is.
Fuck.
But yeah, I mean, fuck is right. I mean, it is literally the worst possible timing. He should have just taken, he should have just fucking taken the title from Bryan and then had Moxley take it off him. They should have pulled a Mariah May and Tony Storm, in my honest opinion. They should have just had Darby win it, have Moxley take it from Darby, go on his reign of terror, have Darby come back and take it back from him. I mean, that's just that's what they should have done. But anyways, like I was saying, this do not be surprised if Tony Khan is still holding on to the idea of Darby Allin. Like I said, who's to say he's not looking at All In? Who's to say he's looking at Darby Allin? And he says, well, Darby needs to be the guy. And again, if Wrestle Dream is taking place in Washington, like traditionally speaking, where Darby is from, with the way Tony Khan has been booking, am I really that crazy to say, who's to say Tony Khan doesn't have this title reign go all the way to Wrestle Dream in Washington so Darby can take it? Which, there's a good option here with Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay could win the Owen and go on to face the Death Riders, or to go on to face the leader of the Death Riders, John Moxley, at All In Texas, and take the title from him there. That could happen. It could. That's our only way out at this point, man, because unless they shoehorn Darby in that to make that a triple threat, or unless Will Ospreay gets injured, gets a storyline injury by the Death Riders, and then Darby wins the title at All In, and then Ospreay comes back and says, well, I want my match that I won the Owen for. Well, you're going to give it to me at Forbidden Door in London. That could be an option. That could very well be an option. But again, this could be, I guess, somewhat positive, being that we could be down to the final 3 months of a 9-month reign. So again, we've already gone through the bulk of it, which has sucked, and we've suffered tremendously because I fucking constantly am checking prices on a PlayStation Portal every week while I'm watching AEW Dynamite. Or, again, am I really that crazy to say we could be in store for another 6 months to get us to Wrestle Dream for Darby Allin?
Man.
Which
Oh god.
pains me to say because I really want Darby to do it. I really think the storyline is there and I really think it's embedded for him. But at the same time, I sit here and say, Darby, I'm sorry, but the opportunity may have just passed you up. You may have to dethrone another big monster heel for the title because it's
At
just,
this point,
I think it's passed him up with how bad this story is.
it gets to a point where a story like this isn't worth anybody to wait that long for. Fucking Tribal Chief Roman Reigns isn't fucking enough to wait 12 months of Death Riders for. Nobody is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that, man. If the
The
Bloodline
point
story was as bad as the Death Rider story is, you're right. It is not worth 12 months.
is not.
But, but, who knows, man? Because at the end of the day, there's one man that's booking the show. No matter what he wants to say, there is one man booking the show for one man, and that is Tony Khan. And I, I get the vibe he's loving this. I genuinely get
Oh,
the vibe
I'm sure.
he's loving this. Everybody makes the comparison all the time, you know. I genuinely think he thinks that the Death Riders are like the NWO. I
Oh,
seriously think they're like a game change. I seriously think he thinks that these guys are like a game changing faction in the wrestling business.
he thinks that it's it's the classic of words go away heat, but the company's like, oh, they hate the bad guys, so it's
Yes.
working. That's exactly what it is in Tony Khan's mind right now, exactly to a T. So I really wouldn't be shocked if it is another 6 months too, because to Tony Khan, we love to hate the Death Riders, and it's working.
I think that's exactly what it is. I think they're looking at this exactly what you just said. I think they're looking, these fans are heartbroken that Swerve lost. Well, this is going to make the moment with Darby or Will so much better because the fans are just going to have a nuclear hate for John Moxley. Tony, I'm sorry to say this. Yes, the fans are upset with John Moxley. People are more upset with you than they're upset with John Moxley. And again, a lot of people are upset with Mox, and they have every right to be because his matches are boring. You are
Like,
22 minutes into a 32-minute main event doing a fucking headlock.
and Mox used to be able to bang, bruh. That
Yes.
man used to go great. His matches with Punk, dude. His matches with fucking Kenny. That man can wrestle. I don't know what fucking Josh Barnett or Brett Lauderdale did to that man, but god damn, they screwed that man's in ring style up.
It's almost like it's almost, you heard the Young Bucks talking about their time as AEW Tag Team Champions in 2024, and they were talking about how they wanted to put on boring matches on purpose so the fans would hate them. Guys,
Oh,
and I think this goes for Moxley as well. If that is what Moxley is doing, what the Bucks were doing, I need you guys to understand your booking is horrible. Don't you think the one thing that could be nice about your title reign could be a fucking a match? Don't you think that could be the one beacon of hope of Tony Khan, he's booking him like shit, or John Moxley, he's booking his group like shit, he's booking him into oblivion. At least we're gonna get a good match out of Mox, or at least we're gonna get a good match out of the Bucks. Are you
and
guys stupid?
that's what I was seeing in the reaction, post, Dynasty. It was a lot of people saying, I wouldn't hate this reign nearly as much if the matches were good.
Yeah.
Because imagine you had good competitive matches where probably most of these matches, the opponent got the upper hand. They're doing really good, and at the end, Mox still always finds a way to win. That'd be fine. Most
Yeah.
people would be like, okay, it's kind of going length. It's good. They're kind of pulling Triple H with this one, but overall, the matches are good, so it's whatever. But
Hmm.
the matches are dog shit, dude. They're the most boring, slow-paced fucking 2017 Randy Orton trash that you could watch, dude. They're horrible.
Dude, uh I don't know if that's what he's doing. I mean, do you think that's like like valid for me to think? Like, is he doing the Young
Oh,
Bucks thing where he's like he's like purposely doing this?
I genuinely wouldn't doubt it, especially because I remember, when Punk was talking about, his matches with Mox, Mox really wanted to do like the whole Rocky thing. I think Mox watches way too many goddamn boxing movies, and I think he tries to bleed it so much into his, his wrestling, match storytelling to where it's just, oh, let it just be a brutal punch fest, and then that's it. And I think it's really just fucking up his matches, dude. And I wouldn't doubt it. I could definitely see that as valid.
Because I mean, you were sitting right next to me. We're watching this pay-per-view, and I'm sitting there, and I kept looking at you and asking you, is he fucking with me right now? Is he really doing a fucking rest hold right now? 22 minutes into
I mean,
what is the main event of this show?
that man set up a ladder and did a front headlock. Like, dog, you gotta be doing it on purpose.
Dude, he has to be at this point. But dude, um yeah, I mean, like I said, man, I genuinely am at the point. I think Tony, I really think Tony thinks this is good shit, and I think he sees the nuclear hate as heat. I think he sees it as nuclear heat to, and I think he's looking at this as, man, the fans, they nuclearly want John Moxley to drop the title to a hero. I don't think he's looking at this as, people hate
Like,
Dynamite, and one of the main things people hate about AEW Dynamite is one of the main things for the past couple of years that people used to look at as a beacon of hope on the show, and that is the world title situation.
yeah, the world title situation used to always be one of the most interesting parts. How is Kenny gonna, Kenny was Superman at that time, and it was great. And you were building up Hangman, and you were excited for that, and then you were excited for that. It was exciting. It was intriguing. You wanted the next part, but everyone just wants it to end.
Yeah, uh, man, I don't know, man. I don't know, but I'll tell you, whatever he has in mind, I had a bad feeling, man. I had a really bad feeling going into I had a really bad feeling coming out of Revolution that John Moxley is going to go on a run, and he's going to beat a bunch of top guys, and he's going to I had a feeling he was going to beat Swerve, but dude, that Owen, when I tell you that Owen gave me such much needed hope in a world where I had none, for
Hmm.
Adam Page to win it and go on and fight Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship at the in the main event All In, it really gave me a lot of hope, man. But I'll tell you, Dynasty crushed all of that. I'm reverting back to what I originally thought, and that is John Moxley is going to beat whoever, and he's going to step over whoever, because Tony Khan sees this as great heat.
Oh yeah, he thinks that we love to hate this man. That the villain always triumphs, and oh my god, I gotta watch. I have to keep watching to see the hero finally win. No, dude, you're just pushing people away. He does not realize that.
No, he doesn't. He he has yet to realize that. He has yet to he has yet to figure out what the fuck is actually going on in his company. But and actually have his finger on the pulse of what is going on in his company. Um but yeah, man, I mean, like I said, dude, he is, oh man, he has got his head so far shoved up his own ass. I don't know. I don't know, man. But and again, you know, they usually say, man, trust your gut. Book what
Hmm.
you would like, and people will like it. But the thing is, there's not a lot of wrestling fans like Tony Khan, man. Tony Khan is what he's christened himself as, a sicko, and there's only a small amount of sickos. And if you don't believe me, just look at those AEW crowds when they were actually in full arenas. Okay, there's a small
Exactly.
amount of them. Um, but yeah, I mean, man, ooh, his finger is so far away from the pulse, it is not even funny. Um, so speaking of another member of the Dead Riders, Pac. Well, we all seen on Dynamite last week. Pac was seen leaving last night's or Wednesday night's AEW Dynamite taping on crutches. The belief amongst talent spoken to is that it is an ankle-based injury, but there is no word yet on how severe it is. This is from PW Insider. Well, obviously this sucks for Pac, and you know he's a
Mhm.
great talent. You hate to see something like that happen with him. Um, what do they do with the trios titles now, bro?
I think it's obvious. I think, especially with what happened on Dynamite, I think they're gonna put them on the ops. You know, Joe, Hook, Shibata. I think they're gonna go on to them because they were looking for the trios titles anyway, and I'm
Looking for
sure
a
they were
fight.
just gonna be. They were looking for a fight. They were, man. Um, and you know they were looking, to face them anyway. And I feel like they were just going to be another notch under their belt. But at this point, I think with the obvious injury, they could always freebird it and have Mox hold it, and then they retain it, and then Mox also has the trio title. But I feel like they will take it off them overall. And I think that would ease people onto the Death Riders a little better, if that makes sense. If someone finally beats them for something, I think it'll really help the next 3 to possibly 6 months we have with them. So, but that's from our perspective. That might not be from Tony Khan's perspective. Tony Khan's perspective may be, oh man, they lose a guy and they still have the titles. That's ultimate villainy right there. They would hate that, and it'd be great. So I wouldn't doubt it if they just freebirded on the Mox and they still retain. But I do think there is a chance that the Ops do take it because I think Tony Khan does like those guys. He likes Hook, he likes Joe, but there's also the Hook and his contract situation. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
still up pretty soon, and Tony Khan doesn't really like putting titles on people that aren't re-signed or whatever. So maybe that's in contention, man. I don't know. I think it's possible, but I think we still need an update with, the Hook contract situation and whatnot. But I think it's possible, but I'm not going to throw my hat into it yet, man. But what about you, man? What do you think about this, the possibility of them losing?
I gotta say, man, I completely disagree with you because what you just said makes too much sense, and I, 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 I think that's the right way to go. I think you should take the title off of him, but then again, me and you are also in the sentiment they should have took the fucking title off of John Moxley. See, man, the thing here is, bro, John Moxley talks so much about the roster stepping up. I honestly wouldn't see it too far off if Pac is injured long term of them adding another member. And it could be Josh Alexander, it could be
Could be
uh
Josh Alexander. It
I
could
mean
be.
it could be somebody on the roster who, okay, now this is really going to make everybody vomit. Do you remember that segment where John Moxley told Jack Perry he was a good kid? Jack Perry don't like the Young Bucks no more, at least from what we know. Who's to say Jack Perry doesn't step into the Death Riders? And I honestly think if I'm taking my logical brain out of my head for a second and I'm putting Tony Khan's brain in my head, I honestly think again John Moxley talks so much about the roster stepping up. Who's going to step up, right? Who's going to carry the company on their back? Who's going to rise to the occasion? Who's to fucking say they don't add another member? And again, it could be a guy like Josh Alexander. John Moxley could have, scouted him out and, he could have, liked, the walking weapon of Josh Alexander. He's a dangerous man or whatever the case. But again, we also seen a segment and Jack Perry, he's kind of got a rugged look to him. That's kind of how the Death Riders
Yeah.
look. Pac, never really fit the look the group anyways, if I'm being honest. You got all these guys out there in street clothes and he's out here in fucking gear.
In
I mean
full
the
gear.
the the,
I mean,
the
it fits. I can't imagine him without full gear, but still.
very true. Yes, the look fits Pac, but he does not fit the look of the Death
Yeah,
Riders. He throws the whole look off to me, but who's to say? And yeah, the why who Jack Perry, guys, I hate to burst your bubble, bro, but Bell
he
says
is
it right
like
here, man.
the
Jack
wild card.
Perry's the wild card,
He is
and
it,
good God,
guaranteed. Oh,
oh
dude,
brother,
I
who's
really wouldn't, dude.
I'm s- don't be surprised. Do you remember what segment I'm talking about, dude? That segment
Yeah,
where Moxley said, "I don't care what anybody says about you, Jack. You're a good kid."
you're a good kid.
Who's to
Oh
fucking
man,
say that
give
this
me a something else,
motherfucker
Bill.
does not join the Death Riders and turn his back on the Young Bucks? Especially if the
Dude,
especially if the elite turn especially if the elite turn with or if the elite team with the Death Riders, who's to say it isn't just a big ploy for Jack Perry to team with them as well and then end up turning on the Bucks? I
at
mean,
all.
again,
Oh man,
Sir K, what you said of the ops taking titles,
it's
yeah,
logical.
that makes the most sense, right? But again, if I'm putting Tony Khan's brain in my head, I think the Death Riders are going to get another members because the dastardly group taking over the company shall not be
Mhm.
dethroned until All In
Nope.
or until Darby Allin at Wrestle Dream. um and
No, and
and
I see that completely.
God, and I could see Jack Perry being that guy. I could see Josh Alexander joining the group, or maybe they go with somebody. Maybe they go with somebody else that I'm not even thinking of because he hasn't seen the light of TV in 2.5 years. But it's
It
it.
gets worse though.
Yeah. Oh fuck, Jesus. Oh
Yeah.
God. Ugh.
Oh man, I who knows, man? But that Jack Perry one is very possible, and that is absolutely terrifying, man, because it is possible.
Yeah. So Pac is injured. Who knows how long it will be for, and who knows what will happen with the trios titles. But I can tell you right now, if it's anything remotely close to the Death Riders getting a new member in the form of Jack Perry, we're in for a rough. They are stacking these 3 months against us, bro. I mean, to the
They
fullest.
really are. Like, god damn.
So yeah. Um Yeah, I'm sorry. I hate to scare all you guys with the idea of Jack Perry joining the Death Riders, but I truly see them getting a new member. But then again, too, Jack Perry fits the look of the Death Riders more than he ever fit the
A,
look of the Elite in the first place.
1,000%. Got the
The
big beard.
Yep, the Elite, that group aesthetically just fucking looked just horrific. Um, got
He had
three
like weird. Mm-hmm.
you got three guys sitting there in suits, and then you have like deranged Tarzan. Like, how does that look? And then again with the Death Riders too, you have all these guys in street clothes, and then here's just this guy running around in his fucking tights. I mean, what is
Literally.
this? Like, what? I don't know, man. But what
I
were we
don't know why
saying?
they didn't have Pac do his post cruiserweight, loss look where he's super disheveled and super like tired looking. I think that would have helped the Death Riders look with him, man. But I definitely think it's very possible that Jack Ryder, oh my God, that Jack Perry joins the Death Riders. My God. It's so fucking flustered that they got me because it's so possible and it's so terrifying, especially because he does like the same like spray painted logo look that
Mm-hmm.
Mox always does too.
Yep.
Oh, that's horrifying.
Again,
And
man,
you
you're
could say
making too much fucking sense. You're making too much
it
sense,
was
bro.
it was EVPs that scapegoated them, and you could blame it all on them. And oh god, that is terrifying. That's terrifying.
Do you
God
remember that?
damn it.
Do you remember that segment? With Do you remember that? And I think of this because you just talked about how he's gonna turn it on saying the EVPs scapegoated him. You Remember that they could pull a segment with remember when Drew McIntyre or when Drew McIntyre said he was the chosen one and CM Punk said who chose you? What was his name? Could somebody say that to Jack Perry? Please. Who
Yeah.
scapegoated you, Jack Perry? Is Tony Khan gonna let you explain to us who scapegoated you? Hmm.
Because that was the worst part about that gimmick. The whole gimmick was about a guy that not only wasn't there anymore, but we couldn't even talk about it anymore. So he
You're
was just a scapegoat for just redacted.
you literally aired all in footage, and the whole fucking time they were describing the footage, they didn't even say his name once. Well, go ahead, Bucks. Why don't you tell me who is that guy
Ooh,
wearing the
we're just
XXX on the back of his jacket? Who is that guy?
like man, come on, man. And Seth
You
and Bell, I have to agree with you. My ranking used to be the same as yours, but Seth has taken number two at this point, man, easily. Not that number three is even bad or nothing, because they're all
yeah.
top tier guys, but it's Roman Seth Mox right now, man. And at one point for me, it was Roman Mox Seth, man. But and at one point, very like 2019, 2020, it was probably Mox Roman, or Mox Seth and Roman. But now it's completely flipped on its ass.
Yeah, I'm in the same sentiment as you both. I'm definitely a Roman Seth Mox guy for sure. But yeah, you did not want to capitalize on making money, when Punk was in the company, but when he was out of the company, you wanted to, go ahead and trot his likeness around and try to make money off him then. So just a shitty way of going about business, man. And if everybody would have just shut up and done business like adults, AEW could have made a lot of money. And it's even crazy that that's what Punk was expecting to do himself. He expected to go on and
Hmm.
make money with these guys, and
They
they
never
didn't.
did.
Yeah, they never did.
Hmm.
Jay White. I believe this is our last AEW story. Yes, this is our last AEW story for the day. Jay White. According to Fightful, one theory within AEW is that Jay White was set for a heel turn ahead of his injury. It was implied that the heel turn could have been tied into the Dynasty main event. What?
Oh.
However, How, however, Jay White's injury caused significant creative shifts.
No, when I heard heel turn, I was like, oh yeah, he was gonna turn on Cope, whatever. But
That's
were they gonna put him in that group? Don't tell me you were gonna subject Jay White to that group, being a part of that, because oh man, not again.
maybe Jay White was
No,
going to be the other member of the Death Rider.
maybe I wouldn't be shocked either. He has very, on TV reasons to be disgruntled, and the Switchblade with the Death
He has
Riders.
very off
I've
TV reasons to be disgruntled.
Yeah, he very much has. I know he's regretting this fucking signing. Wish he would have just fucking took the 6 months with Vince and then fucking been in paradise with Triple H, man. But god damn, I would think, I heard, he was gonna, turn heel. So I was like, oh, obviously, yeah, that was kind of the plan with Cope. I thought that was pretty obvious, but no, it apparently was completely different for some reason. Good lord.
Man, you know, this makes no sense to me. If you would have said the main event of Revolution could have tied
Yeah.
into Jay White's story because he had the story of him teaming with Copeland, that makes sense. What the fuck would Jay White have to have done with Swerve Strickland for him to turn heel because of Swerve losing the match, or turn heel because of Swerve, being, in the main event? I mean, what sense does that make? I mean, what? I mean, I seen a heel turn for Jay White coming anyway, but again, it made the most sense for him to turn on Adam Copeland. I guess that's not the direction that they went. And they went with the FTR direction instead, which, I don't even think we've seen those guys on Dynamite. I thought we just seen a replay and a promo from Tony Schiavone on the situation. Nice fucking follow up.
Oh, that was horrible. You guys are despicable.
I've
Ugh,
seen a
I
bunch of
fucking hate
despicable
Shabbat.
things. Your daughter's upset with you. What?
Daughter's upset with you, bro. You just shut up, dude. Please.
Honestly. Honest fuckingly,
Ugh.
bro. Um, I don't even know what this means. I can't even tell you guys what this even means. Were they gonna do Jay and Swerve? But Jay was already in the Owen.
Yeah, so it's
I
like, uh,
I
I
don't know.
don't know, man.
I so wish, like you said, that switch he would have
Took the fucking 3 months with
yes,
Vince.
just stiffed it out for those 3-4 months with Vince, and we could have been in paradise right now. That this motherfucker could have been going up against fucking LA Knight for the US title at WrestleMania, which is better than this
Oh,
fucking shit. Um
exactly.
this guy could have been fucking facing Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship.
That probably would have been the AJ Matchless Mania
Oh
match of
my
Jay White and
god.
Jay
Please
Styles.
don't tell me that
Yeah,
right now, bro. Good god. I don't
for like
even know,
40.
man.
I get
Ah.
it. Who I could have seen them trying to mix it up with Judgment Day with him. I wouldn't have liked that, but I wouldn't have doubted it.
Yeah, I could very well see WWE trying to make him like a leader of Judgment Day. I
Ugh,
could see that. Just end the group, please, so we don't have to worry about
please,
that. Um,
Mania. I'm begging you.
man. Yeah. So that's that. That is that, man. As yeah, Jay White was set for a heel turn, and it was going to tie into the Dynasty main event somehow. That I can't tell you guys because that makes that makes about as much sense as if Tony Khan were to bring the Young Bucks back in the main event of Dynasty. Oh wait, yeah. So that's that. Yeah, and that is all the news for AEW this week. As yeah, that's everything we got.
Yeah,
So
well, they
with
know you.
with all of that, we got a word from our official sponsor here at NHP, W Energy. W Energy is a clean energy drink formula loaded with vitamins and nootropics formulated to improve focus without getting the jitters, man. W Energy is sugar-free, 0 calorie, free from fillers and artificial colorings with 150 milligrams of caffeine per serving. You can get your W Energy products today with the link below and code NHP at checkout to save yourselves 10% on your next W purchase. As always, thank you guys so very much to the great people over at W for being the official sponsor of what we do here at NHP. As always, shout out W Energy.
Truly, I always got to shout out W, man. Whether you need it for work, workout, anything to stay up for, man. Dynasty, that truly kept you asleep, man. So whatever you got to stay up for, W's got you, man. It'll taste good, and you won't get any jitters, man. So truly, always, shout out W.
As always, man. As always. Bell, you're absolutely right. Tony Khan is 1,000%. Tony Khan is 1,000% crying somewhere, asking, "Why did Vince leave?" Because Vince leaving, that might have
Is
been the biggest AEW killer, possibly. In this whole scenario, man.
oh 1,000%, man. Their decline in television just correlates perfectly
Mm-hmm.
with Triple H or with Triple H's takeover.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, once we got Triple H in, man, and he started to, uh, just tell stories and reinstate a lot of people's aura, and how big of stars people were. It was fucking game over from there, man. It really, really was. But,
Oh
um,
yeah.
yeah. So with that, moving over here to the WWE side of things, Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. So, according to PW Insider, the Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair segment last night went way off the planned back and forth verbiage. In regards to Tiffany's 0-3 line, the belief amongst those spoken to with this morning is that she fired away on Charlotte in retaliation for how Flair ate her up on a previous face-to-face segment. Some spoken to, some spoken with Stratton felt she stood up for herself in a way to put the spotlight back on her and in front of the crowd, in front of a Chicago crowd that was pro Stratton, whilst others felt the segment going away didn't help anyone. So there's more to the story. So apparently, according to the Observer, the situation between the two has been brewing, and there is said to be some heat on Flair. More heat on Flair than Stratton at this point, although the stance is that neither of them were in the right. With that, there is reportedly heat on both of them. This is from Fightful. There is heat on both of them following SmackDown, with the reaction to the off-script comments being one of "oh shit." According to a report, the consensus backstage was that Charlotte was the one who took the segment off script, with a number of people feeling that Tiffany had to fight back following comments about her voice. That was when she was like, "I can't hear you, Tiffany. I can't hear you. You're so squeaky." What the fuck was that?
No, that
That
sounds like an Android.
um. Both the lines about Charlotte's marriage nor the line about Ludwig Kaiser were cleared in advance, and WWE instructed digital producers to edit both out of the online uploads. With that, the situation was referred to as a wreck. Wow. Okay. How do you feel about this segment going off the rails? What did you think about the way Charlotte handled that? You know, it reminded me, you know, we've seen a couple of these segments in our time where you know, Charlotte's segments just come off. You know, we've seen one
Child.
too many of these. Yes, they just seem utterly childish, or almost like she doesn't know how to handle herself sometimes, or it's like Charlotte's like, she gives the vibe to me that she's just so bound to a script that when things don't go her way, she like doesn't know what to do and just completely just runs it off the fucking rails.
Yeah, if it's not, I always get the vibe from Charlotte, whether it was that one Becky segment where she was fucking dropping a title, giving it to her, or shit like this. It really gives a vibe that if it doesn't go Charlotte's way, she mentally just checks out of that segment and she's just done with it right there and then. And I think that's really not a good or professional way to deal with that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And especially because, you know, you're about the general situation, the general consensus is Tiffany just defending herself with that, you know, satellite, you know, segment. It was very obvious that Tiffany just kept trying to stick to a script, and Charlotte was cooking her, and that was very apparent, man. So obviously Tiffany Stratton is going to have the mentality of, well, if she goes off script again, I'm going to retaliate,
Mm-hmm.
and that she did. um, and it's very, and I am glad that most people are putting, you know, the heat on Charlotte, because that is right, in my opinion. It really feels like the vibe of, you know, back in school, where even if they hit first, if you hit back, you're suspended too. It's the zero tolerance policy. I always hated that type of shit, man, because yeah, I get it. You can't just not punish somebody for, you know, doing something like that, man.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if that person starts it, you have to retaliate. Especially you're on a mic in pro wrestling. I'm gonna go lower if you try to hit low on me. That's just how the business is, man. And at the end of the day, say what you want, how bad that segment was because it was horrible. It was also great at the same time, and it
Yes.
made me care a lot more than I did before with this fucking story, man. Because the story was ass. It was Charlotte just coming in, fucking just stealing all the momentum and trying to win at Mania, and she still probably will. Um, and it's shit that's fucking tried and done, and no one wants to see anymore. And we get someone like Tiffany who shoots back, and it makes it really interesting, man. So, and Charlotte, I'm glad most of the heat is on her because at the end of the day, like you just read off, she went off script first, and Tiffany was probably like, hey, in her mind, she was probably, hey, she's about to cook me again if I don't also go off script. So I'm gonna have to go off script, and that she did. And at the same time, it was bad, but it was great. In my opinion, I actually loved that segment because it was just so wild, just talking like that, man. But I don't blame Tiffany Stratton at all. I would have done the same thing. If not, I would have gone even lower, which probably wouldn't have been a good idea. But it's just one of those things, man. But at the end of the day, can you blame Tiffany Stratton for doing what she did, man? And Charlotte, I don't think she's professional enough to handle any type of heat, whether it's crowd heat, whether it's
Oh.
people shooting back, whether it's a segment or a match or anything not going her way. She just mentally checks out and she's just done with it, which is a very childish way to handle business, man. But it's a very unfortunate situation that does, at the end of the day, help the match, in my opinion. And I hope they continue to. You're at the opportunity right now where they could turn this heat and shoot dislike of each other into money. Something that Tony Khan was never able to do with a lot of things. You could do that here. You could tell them you two are going to go to work and you're going to be professional, but there's the momentum from you guys not liking each other. We're going to put that on TV, and you guys are going to work it out, and we're going to make money. I think that's the best way to go about this, man. But what about you? What do you think about all this?
Uh, yeah, talking about Charlotte, that segment in general, you can just tell that she mentally checked out because for some reason they have her going out there and like trying to baby face it up, and like nobody's buying this shit because the people don't like her, and she's sitting there trying to talk nice about Chicago, and they're still fucking booing her because the people love Stratton. And she just like there was she's like there was a part in the segment where she's like, "Oh, you have the last word, Tiffany." And then she's sitting there like, okay, Chicago, what should I say next?" Or she said something like that, and it's just like, you know how ridiculous you look? How long have you been on the main roster? You can't deal with a little bit of heat? Like, you can't deal with a little bit of heat, bro? Like, there's people younger in the business than you who get more heat than Charlotte, and they can fucking deal with
Yeah,
the heat. So why
exactly.
so why after 10 years on the main roster do you still lack the ability to talk with heat? You know what I mean? And then two, with Stratton. Stratton, this has happened before. That Via Satellite promo where Charlotte was cooking her up. Stratton is warned for the second time that Charlotte might go off script and shoot on you. What else? What else should I do? What else should I do? I'm gonna go right back at you. I'm going to go right back at you. And Stratton talked a little bit about this. She talked a little bit about this where she said, "I think being new into the business, being a new champion, I don't think she really expect me to stand up to her. And I don't think she expected me to clap back. All I have to say is it's live TV, stakes are high. We're going into WrestleMania. I have the title. I want to keep the title, and I'm going to pull out every stop I can. People want to see our match, and I think we're doing a very good job at getting people to want to see our match, and I'm ready to put on the best women's match ever and go to war." So again, if you're in a scenario with somebody where you feel that a veteran is just picking on you and trying to fuck with you and go off script and test you, well, then I am to be tested because I'm going to come right back at you. And that's and don't get upset when I do. And it seems like Charlotte got a little upset, which again, if you want to go off script and you want to shoot on me, I'm going to fucking shoot right back at you. And again, like I said it on Monday, if you want to, don't stand in the kitchen if you can't handle the heat.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it is. Bad fucking move on WWE for editing this out, though. Bad move
Yeah.
on WWE for editing this out, because John Cena, one of the greatest promos in the business. What is one of John Cena's main pieces of advice he will give to young talent for promos? If you're feeling something, just say it.
Do it. Mm-hmm.
And Stratton was feeling something. She said it. She went off, she went off on a limb. And it made the segment better. It made a segment that would have been, and you can call it a wreck. Sure you can. I will call it a beautiful train wreck, because
Yeah.
otherwise we were going to get a more robotic segment where it was just more robotic jabs, and it was these two jabbing about how, I'm going to beat you, and you're new, and you're a veteran, your time's past you, tiffy time, blah, blah, blah. And people were going to complain about that too. I would have much rather this, because this at least has got people talking. Again, if this segment was your formulaic, I'm going to beat you at Mania, blah, 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 you're only in this business because they think you're a Charlotte ripoff, or whatever the jabs were going to be, it wouldn't be in the news, and people wouldn't be more excited for their match. I'm more excited for their match because of segments like this. Again, was it a wreck? Yes, but I'm going to go ahead and call it a beautiful wreck, because we would not be talking about it if it wasn't for shit like this happening. So it is, good in that sense. It is good in that sense because, again, a segment like this happens, people are complaining that it's a train wreck. If the original segment would have happened, you guys would have just said it was boring and nobody gives a
Mm-hmm.
shit about this match. So, you can't really fucking win, but I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this 1,000 times out of 1,000 because it makes me want to see this match more. And the last time we seen Charlotte in a scenario where she was shooting on somebody, it was Becky Lynch, and they ended up turning out a great match at that Survivor Series a couple years ago. So I think this is a good thing, man. I think this is a good thing. And although it was a wreck, like I said, it was a good one at that. I certainly fucking enjoyed what this wreck had to offer. So that's just me, though, man. That's just me. So, but yeah, man. I mean, bad on WWE for editing that kind of stuff out, man. If Tiffany, actually, you should be proud of Tiffany Stratton. How long she been in the
Yeah.
business? 4 years, and she has the ability to off rip just start shooting back and make a
Good.
segment better.
That's more of a positive than a negative to me.
You want somebody like that. I'm looking at her as a future star anyway, but now more so than ever. I'm saying, dude,
Exactly.
if somebody as young as her, 25 years old, has the ability to just switch and go in a completely different direction because of something that, the veteran Charlotte Flair, is doing to her, and she has the ability to pivot that quickly mid-segment, that's pretty fucking awesome for a young talent, if you ask me. But
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I mean, I'm more excited for the match, and I see a lot of people complaining about this. I see a lot of people complaining about, how bad this segment was or whatever. I'm looking at this segment as a good thing, bro. I really am,
Yeah.
because it adds intrigue, and it really shows Tiffany's range. If she wants to get in her bag, she can. And if she needs to retaliate and defend herself in a promo segment where the veteran who should be helping her is trying to make her look like shit, well, then I'm gonna make you look like shit just as worse. So,
Yeah. It's that simple.
yeah. And I'm more excited for this match now than I would have been if they would have just did their formulaic jabs. So,
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah, so that is the news for. I actually think we've seen a
There was the Charlotte Heat thing, I think, with the
Um,
locker room I sent you.
yes, I did. Yeah, we did hear that as well, and that, I mean, even goes. That even goes even more into the heat on Charlotte. Apparently, Charlotte is not dressing with the women in the women's locker room, man. So, um, it really goes to show, man, that Charlotte's inclusion may not be always a good thing, bro. It really goes to show, because what have we seen from the SmackDown Women's Division when Charlotte was gone? They were all in the locker room filming TikToks with each other. Everybody seemed like
Sure.
they were having a fucking great time. Charlotte comes back and we hear that she's not even
Even in
dressing
them,
with them. Makes her look
like
like Hogan,
we
bro.
it really does, man. It really does. Way to feel a part of the family, quote unquote, is you don't even want to be around us.
Yeah. So Charlotte was supposed to say the comparisons with Stratton were always annoying, and it's an insult to her. Tiffany was supposed to come back and say she runs the division. Um, you call yourself a queen but don't have a kingdom. Charlotte was then supposed to say that the Money in the Bank was a ski lift to her being on top, and now you're afraid of heights. Um, Tiffany was going to say, congrats on climbing back, but you're going to fail the 13th time, and you don't sound like a real champion. Would you guys have rather that or what we got? So,
Exactly. I'll take what we got, man.
definitely. Because for the first time, and Charlotte wasn't even trying to go in this direction, but for the first time, it looked like Tiffany looked like a huge star coming out of that. Which before, it was kind of just Charlotte making herself look like a star. So,
Literally.
again, I mean, Tiffany got out of the ring. Charlotte tried to come back with a weak ass line about Ludwig Kaiser. Tiffany just no sold it, and it made her look like a star. It did. So
Oh yeah, 1000%.
yeah. So that's that, and that was the situation going on with Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton going into WrestleMania. So that was their SmackDown encounter from this past week. Hmm. Well, speaking of SmackDown, a SmackDown superstar who just announced his injury on said show, Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens gave a little more insight on what exactly happened to his neck. So, during an interview with Robbie Barstool, Kevin Owens shared that a regular match in January, not the ladder match, was what did it for him to have neck surgery. He says, your spine and everything looks good for what you've been doing. You're fine, is what a WWE doctor said to him after he got an MRI in December of last year. So I was like, great. And I felt great. But then in January, I had a match. In the match, two things happened that really jarred my neck. And that's when the issue started. So I knew there was something wrong. And we ended up doing an MRI this week and found, yeah, it's serious. With that, Uncle Dave from The Observer did report today that Owens did undergo neck surgery on the 7th of April, which was Monday. So, wish Owens a speedy recovery. And, man, it sucks to see. No, he's not going to be out of action for 2 years. That got debunked by PW Insiders, fucking wrestling fans. But thankfully, he's not gonna be out of action for 2 years. But he is still gonna be out of action. And with the run that he's been on, it's for sure sad to see him go away. Gives me Ciampa vibes in 2018 for sure.
It really does, man. And it's always the injuries that you never even see at the time, dude. Every time someone has an injury like this, it's always like, oh wow, they're injured. It's always one of those situations, man, and those always suck. It's always the just normal ass matches that do it, and the most random scenarios happen, and these things happen. It always sucks, man. So truly, I'm wishing the best for Kevin Owens, and I just hopefully it's quick and safe, man.
for sure. For sure. So, moving over to a little bit of NXT, I guess, sort of news. Hikuleo. According to WrestleVotes, Hikuleo could possibly debut on NXT around May or June. Hikuleo is expected to receive a big push once he debuts. So, this is the latest we are hearing on Hikuleo as they I don't think he was injured. I think he's just been training. So, this is the latest we're hearing on Hikuleo, and hopefully we see him sooner rather than later, man. But don't be surprised if we do see him pop up in some new form of the bloodline.
I wouldn't. I really wouldn't be shocked. But also, that NXT men's division is kind of still starving overall. So I also wouldn't be surprised if they keep him down there in NXT, man. But I'm excited for his debut no matter what, man. I really can't wait.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm excited to see what he can do. You know, from the little bits that we've seen of him, he's very good. So I'm sure WWE is just going to put their polish on him and make him even better. So I'm excited for that. But yeah. So uh, Nick Khan. Nick Khan was on an interview panel with Paul Levesque earlier this week, and while speaking to the National Association of Broadcasters event in Vegas on Wednesday, Khan was asked about the effect and influence of social media voices on the WWE product. Nick Khan says, "As much as we listen to our audience, we won't listen to social media and respond. We think it's a small percentage of voices who have a big microphone or megaphone in front of them. It's a mistake to respond. It's a mistake to respond to your business based off that. You've got to base it off your gut and the results," Khan said. He added that for the WWE, they program for all 50 states and the world, especially for their new Netflix deal. What do you think about Nick Khan, you know, basically, saying they don't listen to their social media audience and it is a small percentage. They go off the results and their gut. What do you feel about what do you feel about that, and do you wish the other Khan would take a little bit of his advice?
That I would. I would love the other Khan to, well, I don't know about him because his creative direction just without, well, we kind of actually are dealing with that problem right now, and it's not doing in our favor. So I would actually say the reverse for the other Khan. I always get and just think, I always get the statement they say with this, but I also think they could be misguided sometimes. I think, in general, you should listen to general directions of your audience and general directions of your audience, which I think they do. Obviously, if you're just talking about just the IWC itself, that I completely understand. The I always, man, some of the dream matches or matches they say they would make for this show and that story they post, I'm like, bro, thank God you guys don't run this shit. That sounds ass. But I always get and then don't get that statement a lot. I do get it because you don't want to just let your audience completely dictate because a lot of times they don't know what they want. But also sometimes I think you should listen to general reactions and general dislikes and likes that people have about things and whatnot. So those statements are always one of those things where I agree with, but I don't agree with, and I think it can be very situational with those type of things, man. But I'm glad, yeah, it is better just to stand on your business in general, than to just be guided by the fans. But I think you should take into account their general opinions, man. But what about you?
Um, yeah, I wish. I do wish. Honestly, to be 100% honest with you guys, man, I I think Nick Khan is speaking for himself. Triple H,
Yeah.
Triple H is sitting right next to him, but I'm sorry, man, you cannot tell me You cannot tell me Triple H doesn't have his finger on the
Yeah,
pulse
man.
of generally what's going on social media. But yeah, man, I mean, there is parts of that, that you have to agree with, and then there's parts, that I don't get, because WWE, I do think they should listen to a little bit of their audience when it comes to like social media, but you also can't fully, take that into account because, like Bell says, the IWC are fucking lunatics, and half of the shit that
Mhm.
they want, some of the things I just look at, or some of the things that I hear, and I just think, what fucking sense would that ever make? But um, so I mean, it's something. It is something that you do. It's a double edged sword, right? It's a double edged sword because
Mhm.
there is parts of social media you really can't listen to, but then there is parts that maybe they should listen to, but I do think Triple H does keep his finger on the pulse, and I think rather than just seeing, rather than just going with and listening to things you see off social media, man, I think it's just better to keep your finger on the pulse, keep your finger on the pulse of social media, but not necessarily listening to social media, because it will, I'm sure Tony Khan has got a lot of people on Twitter that really do gas him up about the Death Riders being the fucking NWO, and those are the people that he's listening to. Um,
Mhm.
Horrifically enough, but with Tony, he see, we're in a weird spot right now because 9 times out of 10, man, Tony Khan is the kind of guy he's going to listen to social media. And he's
Mhm.
going to listen to things that the sickos want, but we're in a weird state where he's sort of just booking for himself, and he's not taking into account social media at all. So it is, and which is weird for him because he's normally good at doing that. He's normally very good at doing that, so it is very weird for him to not listen. But a lot of times, man, a lot of times I wish Tony Khan would do the same thing. Obviously taking the Death Riders out of the equation, I wish he would listen to social media for that. But look at half these people AEW sign. Tony Khan goes on Twitter and all these people are begging him to sign these people, and then he fucking signs them because social media wants him to, knowing that he doesn't have a fucking plan in the world for half these people.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I wish he would listen to it a little bit more. I wish he would listen to it a little bit more, man. But yes, he has created an echo chamber 100%. He likes to hear uh people agreeing with him. You know what I mean? That's all he likes to hear. He likes to hear that AEW is great and all, and, there's not a fucking problem in the world. But no, I think, for WWE, it's smart. The part here I definitely agree with, and the part I wish Tony Khan would see is we won't listen to social media and respond.
That's
Yes, that is the part I wish Tony Khan would do. I wish a lot of the people in AEW would not
stop
respond.
responding.
Yes,
Mhm.
100%, man, 100%. Stop fucking responding, man. But no, I mean, you know, it is good to listen to social media sometimes, man. That's why I say, don't listen to social media, bro. Just keep your finger on the pulse of what they are saying, because it is a small percentage of people, but it is good to at least keep your finger on the pulse of the small percentage of people, and pick what you like, pick what you don't like, and just hope for the best. And if people don't like it, then you pivot off of that. But it really is a double-edged sword. It really is a double-edged sword, man, because sometimes you listen to social media and you get a shit outcome. Sometimes social media is right. So it really is just about going with your gut. But the thing about going with your gut, you have to have somebody in charge that knows what they're doing. Because if you have somebody in charge like Tony Khan, he goes with his gut, and his gut is shit. Sometimes you go with a guy like, Triple H, he goes with his gut, and it's the better outcome. So
Mhm.
it starts at the top, dude. It all depends on who is booking the show, and the skill of their booking. So yeah.
Most definitely, man.
Jumping over to a little bit of news from Raw. We have news on Tony Hinchcliffe and the reaction to his Raw commentary, which, if you guys did not watch Unscripted, I was not a fan of. I thought it
No,
came off fucking horrendous.
it was fucking pointless.
Yeah, it was pointless. It was stupid. It was just bad. It was just really
Mm-hmm.
bad. So Hinchcliffe joined Michael Cole and Pat McAfee at the announce table as a guest commentator for the World Tag Team title match between the War Raiders and the New Day. Hinchcliffe's commentary was criticized by fans as many did not think the comedian was funny during his appearance. No, he was not funny at all.
Well,
He sounded like a
Hinchcliffe was
horrible comic. Sounded like a horrible
ass.
fucking comic, dude. Some also considered his joke that the only thing suffer than Michael Cole. What? Oh, my bad. I'm fucking stupid. The only thing stiffer than
There
Michael
you go.
Cole was Big E's neck to be in poor taste.
Yeah.
That, I mean, he was, I mean, to not run that by Big E, I thought that was kind of like okay, but like, I mean, he was working a heel commentator. I don't really think he was out to spite Big E there. But I definitely would have ran it past Big E. That's just me.
Yeah, that's just business, but
yeah, that's just me. I just think, I thought if if Big E, when he said that joke, I thought, oh, okay, maybe he's friends with Big E. I thought, maybe they're friends with them, and he just said the joke as a rib. Because, again, he was working a heel commentator. I mean, you can't criticize the guy for making a heel type of joke. Are you guys going to get mad at Wade Barrett for, healing up with the New Day and saying they were justified? Big E left them. He was being a heel commentator. I mean, what?
It's like when people get mad at fucking Corey Graves for being mean on comment. It's like, dude, yeah, that's his job.
And I didn't understand that at all. I didn't understand the reaction to the joke was in poor taste. We've heard some pretty crazy stuff on commentary, dude. I think that I think that not only was it a joke, he's a really bad comedian from what I've heard. The joke was just more so lame, but not once did I say, "Oh my god, that was in poor taste." The joke just it was just one of those jokes that didn't land. I mean, have you guys ever watched a stand-up comedy where the guy says a joke and nobody pops? I mean, it was kind of just like that was the most like bare bones Big E neck joke you could have, possibly. It seemed like Big E felt some type of way about it, or at least he was kind of just like, oh well, they didn't run it by me. I don't really know what that was about. Personally, I probably would have ran it by him and just said, hey, we're gonna have this guy on commentary, and he's gonna be heel and he's gonna be, for the New Day. You mind if he's gonna, crack a little bit of jokes or whatever about your injury, because in all reality, is it really in poor taste when Big E is fine? We know he's good. I mean, it's not like he's in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Then, okay, I could maybe see, why the joke might have been in a little bit of poor taste. But again, he's being a heel commentator, man. I mean, how fucking soft are people, dude? However, the joke just didn't land. I didn't even smile. I was literally just like, okay. Like, his commentary just did not land for me. And I thought a lot of his, he's just sitting there trying to land these jokes that suck. He's sitting there, he's like, hey, Cole, the first match you ever commentated was David and Goliath, and you were commentating in the Jurassic era. Like, I don't know, those jokes just, they didn't fucking land. And I'm just like, dude, your jokes suck. Like your
Yeah,
jokes just fucking suck. Why don't you fucking sit there and say Big E's neck is as bad as the fucking wrestling show that airs on Wednesday at 7 o'clock? I would have
yeah.
fell out laughing if you would have said
Oh,
some
great.
shit like that.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. His shit just didn't land for me, man. But it not once did the joke about Big E, offend me, or did I think it was in poor taste. He's a fucking comedian. I mean, grow a fucking set, please. I fucking hate when people say, "Well, this comedian's joke, it was in poor taste." He's a fucking comedian. It's a joke.
Hmm.
And that's why you hear so many comedians today talk about how hard it is to be a comic in today's era. Because everybody's so fucking soft. It's a joke. They're a
Hmm.
comedian. They are in the business of making jokes. Can't deal with dark humor? Don't fucking listen.
Hmm.
Anyways, Fightful. Uh, Fightful Select was reporting that the people they spoke to backstage in WWE admitted Hinchcliffe's spot came across as a dud. The host of Killy Tony was said to be very respectful at Monday Night Raw, though. Yeah, it came across as a dud. He's not really a funny comic. He's,
It's not really funny, and who is this for? What does this do for anybody? It just feels like more Netflix ads than anything.
1,001%. That is exactly what this was. Yeah, I mean, again, it just his jokes were just. I mean, this is second grade level jokes you're telling, bro. Michael Cole was commentating in the Jurassic era.
Like, oh my god, he's old. Goddamn. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
who
Like
is
a,
this for? Dude? Who is this for at the end of the day?
you know, I, it, I, I, I'm sitting there, dude, and I'm just like, this material is just he's not a good comic, bro. He's just not.
Yeah,
It's, uh, you want to get fucking Snoop Dogg, a rapper, was more funny
that's
on
weird.
commentary for WrestleMania last year than an actual comedian.
Oh, 1,000%.
Snoop Dogg was hilarious. Do you remember when B-Fab jumped in the ring and he's sitting there, "Oh, get him, baby. Get her, baby." I'm sitting there.
That
Or do
shit
you
was
remember
killer.
Titus on commentary
Oh,
for that IC title match with Drew Sheamus and McIntyre, or Drew Sheamus and Gunther?
that shit was hilarious.
Titus and Snoop Dogg were more funny than an actual fucking comic. I mean, his shit was ass, bro. I'm sorry, dude. It
Almost definitely.
bad material, and I hope WWE never does that again. And I wonder if this is going to help the roast of WrestleMania at all. Um, you should do
Isn't
the
there a
roast
guy
of Dynasty. I think that would be a great. I'm not even a fan of Tony Hinchcliffe. I would show up to the roast of Dynasty. I think that'd be a great episode.
Isn't that shit like not even live or nothing? It's just like happening.
Yeah, it's just like
Over the-
something locally they're doing, like at like some
like,
club, some comic club in um Vegas.
you won't like this company won't pay for some theme songs for this or that, but they'll pay to set this up. Thanks. Thanks for spending that TKO money wisely.
Yep. Yep. Still got these shit ass theme songs. Did you hear Jim Johnson said he would propose? Or
Oh yeah.
compose. He would compose for WWE still.
Oh yeah, he was telling like he was talking about how like back in the day you
Oh
could
my
be in the
god.
kitchen
Yeah.
and someone come on and you know who it is and now
Mhm.
it's just noise and how he would love to he would compose if they ask. Please ask for the love of God because Def Rebel is just so ass. They're garbage, man.
Uh, I disagree with Jim Johnson. Def Rebel does make their tracks very recognizable because in the beginning of
They're not
everyone's
bad.
song we hear role model. It's
Wrong.
Tiffy time. Like,
Ugh.
We hear I mean, who else has their fucking catchphrase just about it's the new day. I mean, we hear everybody's got their
Yeah.
fucking catchphrase in the beginning of their song. So we do that is what Def Rebel envisions as recognizable. Put their catchphrase in the beginning of it. It'd be great.
Hell no, we can't make a recognizable sound, so just put a catchphrase. Put their name or some shit.
So, yes, that is that. As we got some news on John Cena. Actually, no. We have some news on the Hall of Fame. According to Uncle Dave, WWE reportedly hasn't reached out to AEW in regards to Sting inducting Lex Luger at the Hall of Fame, as Lex Luger was recently on an interview and he said he is still waiting to hear back.
That's crazy. Just do it, dude. Who cares about this and that? Just do it. This is completely separate from this company. This company, it's a dude in the Hall of Fame. Let his friend induct him, please.
Uh yeah, man, this is really gonna suck if that doesn't happen. If they cannot do that for Lex Luger, that's really gonna kind of suck if they can't do that for him. And I think WWE should put their ego to the side. You guys didn't mind mentioning Sting on commentary. After he retired, Michael Cole blatantly said,
Yeah,
we want to give thanks to the legend Sting. He wrapped up his career last night. Thanked him for all the memories and all the great magic. You guys had no problem doing that. Reach out to AEW, man. Do the right thing for Lex Luger. And get, and it's not even about it shouldn't even be about company shit, man. Get the guy that Lex Luger wants to induct him into the Hall of Fame. Get him, please.
exactly.
I also need to see Sting on live TV with that fucking big goatee he has.
I need him, bro. That is hilarious.
This man has clearly been waiting his whole life to grow facial hair, but that goddamn face paint kept him from doing it for so many years.
Oh fuck yeah, it really is.
So, um, so yeah, that is the most recent update we got regarding Sting and Lex Luger in the Hall of Fame. So, with all of that, the Street Profits. Well, things have taken a turn for the Street Profits, as WWE is currently considering having the Street Profits defend their tag team championships on the SmackDown before WrestleMania 41. As it looks like the Street Profits.
Uh,
I'm not going to lie, WWE did announce today the War Raiders versus the New Day at Mania. I thought
I thought it
for
was gonna be
sure, yes, I thought the Street Profits were going to be the one to get on WrestleMania, and I thought that the New Day were going to be the act that got snubbed. I thought I thought the War Raiders were the champions that were going to get snubbed from the show. Um, that doesn't look to be the case, man. It looks like the Street Profits will be on the SmackDown before WrestleMania 41. How do you feel about WWE snubbing the Street Profits here from the Mania card?
I think it's kind of dumb, man. I thought that was the better tag team story, or and not even really better. It's just a more big tag team story that you could put on WrestleMania. I mean, it was just, War Raiders and New Day had one match, it ended in fuckery, and now they're having another match. But you got a whole, multi tag team situation going on around SmackDown and those titles. So I think that would have just been more logical to put on the show, but for some reason they decided to put the New Day. Hopefully that means we might see like a Big E appearance, or maybe he screws them out of the match, maybe he helps them in the match. Maybe something. I don't know, man. All we could do is speculate, but I would have definitely thought that Street Profits and that whole multi tag team match would have been on the show, and I think that would have been the better thing to put on the show. But we don't know, man. Maybe they're planning something with New Day and whatnot, and come Mania we'll see. But I definitely probably would have put that multi-man tag team match on Mania over this War Raiders and New Day match overall, man. But what about you?
Absolutely, man. I think, first of all, you have some things on the WrestleMania card that probably aren't going to end up being WrestleMania worthy matches. Um, Meanwhile, you're keeping the tag team champions off of WrestleMania. I think that's kind of a weak move. I see a lot of people saying, what do we have 2 nights for? I agree. I would agree with that. What do we have 2 nights for if champions are still getting
Oh, yeah.
snubbed from the show? And I really thought the Street Profits would make it because I thought theirs would be a multi-man. And you know how much WWE loves getting multi-mans on the show. They love it. They love getting their multi-man matches on the show so they can get everybody on the card, right? And that's not the case. That's not the case in this situation, man. And I do feel bad because a lot of the other acts I thought should be on WrestleMania, man. You look at the Street
Yeah.
Profits, you look at DIY, you look at Motor City Machine Guns. They've obviously never competed at a WrestleMania. You looked at those kind of acts, and I would have thought they would have been on WrestleMania. I thought they, would have done a good job with that. But I thought, yeah, I mean, I thought they would have turned out something nice, man. But then you look at the New Day and the War Raiders. That's been treated with about as much importance as the SmackDown Tag Team division, which is little to none. So I really just would have thought that, if anything, they would go with the multi-man match, unless they're gonna do some sort of angle with Big E and the New Day and
Yeah.
something around that, maybe. But maybe they're gonna ask for Big E to be in their corner. Remember, they told Big E, "We'll call you when we need you." Maybe they're going to ask Big E to be in their corner. Maybe he's going to be in their corner and screw him out of the match. Maybe something like that will happen, or, something along those lines. And maybe that's what ultimately made the decision. But to snub the Street Profits from WrestleMania, it does suck, although it doesn't really shock me just because of the importance that they treat the tag team division with. But overall, man, it still does suck. It still does suck, man. But yeah, it looks like the Street Profits will be on the WrestleMania before the what is it? Before WrestleMania. That's SmackDown before WrestleMania SmackDown, as it used to be called.
Oh.
But yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
that is that. And so, with all of that, WrestleMania, according to WrestleVotes, is set to be is set to feature up to 15 matches, but 14 is more likely. As in the past couple days, WWE has announced War Raiders and New Day. They have announced Orton will still be having a match, and they announced McIntyre versus Damian Priest officially, which I guess kind of, thankfully lets us know McIntyre will be at the show, despite the whole eye injury at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, as of today, we actually have the supposed WrestleMania card and what will be on each night. Now, this is from Uncle Dave, so take this with a grain of salt. Night 1 will reportedly feature War Raiders versus the New Day, Jade Cargill versus Naomi, LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu, Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair, Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano, Jey Uso versus Gunther, and Roman Reigns versus Rollins versus Punk. How you feeling about night one?
Uh, it seems like they threw a lot of all the fuckery kind of on night one, man. So it seems like overall the weaker night.
Definitely. Definitely. Night two will reportedly have Io versus Rhea versus Bianca. Breaker versus Penta versus Balor versus Dom. Damian Priest. Why the fuck is he getting a one-on-one WrestleMania match, but the Street Profits are cut from the show?
Mm. They love Priest, dude. I don't get it.
How did Solo Sikoa get snubbed from the card, but Damian Priest is on it? That's my question. But, okay. Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. Randy Orton versus to be decided. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Liv and Raquel. Speaking of tag team matches being on the show, why the
Why is
fuck
that?
is this on the show over the actual WWE Tag Team Championships?
Or one of the women's mid card titles sometime.
Please explain that to me. And obviously John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Well, overall, obviously, night one has a bit more of the fluff, but don't sleep on night one. I think night one has a lot of good things. You know that they do have the triple threat with the Punk, Rollins, and Reigns. They do still have Jay and Gunther, which hopefully Gunther could pull a good match out of Jay. The Fatu match is on that show. Tiffany and Charlotte, and the Chad Gable match, which should hopefully cook. You know what I mean? Even though it's Chad Gable in a luchador mask, the match is still gonna cook. We all know that. And the War Raiders versus New Day, hopefully they do a lot more than what they did on Monday Night Raw. So night two, night two does have a couple things I'm overall not really interested to see as well, like the women's tag match and the Damian Priest match. I'm excited for a Drew McIntyre one-on-one match. The Damian Priest aspect of it is kind of that's night one, that's night zero if I ever heard any. Damian Priest being on WrestleMania, but no, I mean they night one obviously, like I said, does get a little bit more of the fluff, but don't sleep on night one entirely, because honestly that there is the War Raiders and New Day is kind of just because that the importance of the tag teams are very low in WWE, but Cargill and Naomi is honestly really the only thing on night one I'm not really too interested to see, to be honest with you guys, man. And then like I said, night two has those kind of things as well. So night one obviously I would say is probably the weaker of the two, but I wouldn't sleep on it.
Most definitely.
So yeah. With that is reportedly what is going to be on each night of Mania.
You hear
As
there's a 3 hour fucking
that's
pre-show for Mania?
well, you won't have to bite your tongue for much longer, because according to the current listing on Peacock, WrestleMania 41 is set to go 9 hours long across Saturday and Sunday.
Oh.
They know it's Easter, right? Like,
People like have Easter dinner and people have like
uh,
Easter breakfast and shit. Like,
thankfully they don't
which
put
night
shit
is
on the
standard
pre-show
delivery?
anymore.
I think
Saturday.
that's okay. I was gonna say it would have been crazy to put standard deliver in the morning on the Sunday.
You
Even
think?
still, that's fucking wild.
Let's see. I know I could probably cue the story up real quick. Stand and deliver. It is. Yeah, it is the Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, so the listing shows a 4 p.m. Eastern kickoff time on Saturday with the main card starting at 7 Eastern. That means fans can expect a 3-hour pre-show, a step up from the usual 2-hour format. The same structure is expected for night 2, which is which is likely clocking in at around 4.5 hours, including a 2-hour post-show coverage as opposed to their normal 1-hour post-show coverage.
Just
Um,
good Lord, holy hell! Whoever has to go last on the post show, I wish them the most sympathy, man. Obviously, Triple H is usually last, but whatever last wrestler is on that thing, dude, you gotta be there from what? Probably 11 o'clock in the morning to fucking damn near 11 o'clock at night. Fuck. Screw that.
yeah. Um, man, that yeah, talk about talk about a pretty long day. For sure. But yeah, so it looks like WrestleMania should be about 9 hours long on each night. So 18 hours worth of WrestleMania coverage, but in the reality of it, who watches the entirety of the pre-show and who the hell watches the entirety of the post-show? Everybody just skips to the press conference part. Nobody sits there and watches Jackie Redmond and Wade Barrett sit at a panel and talk about how crazy the night of action was. Nobody's really doing that. So in reality, you're looking at an 8-hour WrestleMania across both nights, which 4 hours for WrestleMania, I think 6 to 10, is perfect. I think it's perfect. So, if you are a fan that watches, the full entirety of the pre-show and the full entirety of the post-show, I don't know who's doing that, but you're in for a pretty long night. But for anybody who just watches what we watch, the main show for each card, for 4.5 hours a piece, I think for Mania is okay. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even, if you really want things to get time for WrestleMania, I'll even give you 5 hours. They would have to start the show an hour early. I think that'd be better, but it's WrestleMania, so I don't really expect, or I wouldn't be, I would be, I'm okay with a 4.5 hour for WrestleMania. It's fucking WrestleMania. So, yeah.
Almost definitely.
So, yes, God bless anybody who watch it. And what the fuck are you? See, me and you usually the day of WrestleMania, we'll just turn the pre-show on for like
Right.
background noise, and we'll just kind of sit there and chat. But like, what are you talking about? How are you talking about 7 matches for 3 hours?
Like,
Come on, bro.
holy fucking just runtime patent. God damn, I feel bad for them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Um So yeah, that is what's going to be on the WrestleMania card, who's getting snubbed from the WrestleMania card, the time for WrestleMania, and all those other and all those sort of things. But it looks like WWE has reportedly sold 48,621 tickets for WrestleMania Night 1 and 51,044 tickets for Night 2. A sellout is 60,000 for each night. So WWE for one night is 12,000 away and 9,000 away for the other one. So that is that, and WWE still has yet to officially sell out WrestleMania, which is going to be very funny come WrestleMania because they can't really say it's a sold out attendance of they're going to
We're gonna
talk
make
about the
up.
gate, but they're going to talk about the gate to make up for it. But yeah, so WrestleMania still has yet to sell out, and we all know why. But yeah.
E- Exactly.
Speaking of, we were just talking about the Street Profits being on the SmackDown before WrestleMania. And with that, John Cena is officially advertised to appear on the final Raw, no, he was on Raw. Now they're moving the feud over to SmackDown. John Cena is officially advertised to appear on the final SmackDown in Las Vegas before WrestleMania 41.
Man, thank God that he's not gonna be completely off for the rest of the build, which makes that go home episode very interesting. And I think we might see another Cody one up in that moment.
We could very well see that. It looks like we aren't getting the segment of Cody Rhodes just absolutely getting the ever living holy shit beat out of him by John Cena building up to WrestleMania. So, kind of weak, and kind of a missed opportunity there. Very much so a
Most
missed opportunity there. They could have, even if Cena was not going to be there, they could have filmed something, in a at a
yeah,
location that looks like it could be anywhere, type of
yeah,
thing. But they could have done so much, and they're not having Cena show up till the final show before Mania, man. So I mean, pretty much what we got from the build of these two was basically about it. I highly doubt anything
basically.
too crazy is gonna happen at Mania, or at the SmackDown before Mania. But nonetheless, we are getting Cena there, probably just for one more promo battle, like you said, maybe one more
Hmm.
Cody one up, and that'll be it. But yeah, so that's
Most
the news on John Cena being advertised for one more show before WrestleMania.
most definitely.
And with the final news story of your 5-year anniversary episode of NHP, Gunther, the current, soon to be former World Heavyweight Champion, Gunther, while speaking to Ariel Helwani, has announced he signed a new WWE contract. He also has revealed that a tour bus was a part of the deal and that he asked for it. He says, "What you don't ask for, you don't get."
Look at that.
Gunther has inked a new deal with WWE as they have locked down the ring general for probably, if I'm taking a guess, probably around 5 years. And
Oh yeah,
he's a Triple H guy. I think Triple H is always going to use him in a decent capacity. I just hope the next time he puts a world championship on him, it's better than whatever the hell this shit has been. He's had a better world title run on house shows than he's had on television.
oh most definitely, man. Did you see parts of those interviews where he was talking about that? How like the last 4 months have been really weird, booking wise, and they really didn't like find an identity for his path as champion and
Mm-hmm.
shit. It's very interesting, man. And it's very true, and I'm
He
glad he's very honest.
I'm glad he's honest about that as too. He also talked about how, no disrespect to Jay, but he thought his road to WrestleMania looked like Roman
Bigger.
Reigns, CM Punk, John
Hmm.
Cena. He's getting
Well,
fucking
we
Jay Uso.
literally, man. Very, very cool and honest interview, man, and I'm glad he's re-signed. And I like his mentality, man. Why not ask for, the tour bus and this and that? And I'm very excited and happy for Gunther, and I'm glad that he was able to, stick it out in WWE, and I think it worked very well for him, man. And I'm very glad we have Triple H and all this because, in the last 4 months, like we said, might have been a little rocky, but overall. Gunther is here and he's one of the biggest guys they got, and it wouldn't have been the same path with Vince, man. So I'm very glad we got what we got with Gunther, and I'm very glad we keep him for probably another 5 years, probably forever.
Definitely. Definitely, man. Yeah. And that is pretty much everything we got here for today in this
Mhm.
episode of the news. As yeah, that is yeah, that is the news for that is the news for today, man, as it has been a great episode here today. This has been episode 261 of
Crazy.
Unscripted, or good lord, of the news. Talk about fucking unscripted. That is everything here for today and this episode of your 5-year anniversary episode of the news, man. Again, thank you guys so much, man. Thank you guys so much. It's been an amazing 5 years, and we're gonna have another amazing 5 years in the future, man. So I cannot thank you guys enough, man. I cannot thank you guys enough. Truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for an amazing 5 years. Thank you for taking us along with you on this journey, and thank you guys, man, just so much. It's been a highlight of life, bro. Is just this podcast,
Truly.
man. It really has. Thank you guys, truly from the bottom of my heart. I can't say it enough. I can't say it enough, and I will continue to say it as much as I possibly can. So, man, just you guys are the best. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Truly. Thank you guys so much. You guys are just truly the best, and you guys make doing this all the worth it, man, because it is worth it, obviously, but you guys just your interactions and talking with you guys just it truly makes everything, man. Thank you guys so much.
And with all that, we got a big week. Monday Night
Very big
Raw
week.
is the go home show, and in 1 week's time, we got Mania predictions, man. So that'll start a long
Very
4-day week, for a 4-day weekend
big.
for us. So it's exciting. I'm excited, man, and I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see how Mania turns out, man. I'm excited to see how Mania turns out. So with all that, that is going to do it for this edition of your 5-year anniversary of the Notorious Sales Podcast, man. Thank you guys so very much for joining us here today on this edition of NHP. Thank you guys as always, man. It has been always nothing but a pleasure for my Johnny.
And I, Sir K.
And that is going to do it for this edition of the news, your 5-year anniversary episode of the Notorious Sales Podcast. Thank you guys so very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys. And with that, please like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you all on Monday for the go home episode of WrestleMania Unscripted.
Peace.